Bryan, we have to change podcast distributors right away.
Why do we need to do this?
Well, we've been paying our own money out of our own pockets to distribute our podcast. I found a place that does it for free.
Okay, tell me all about this, please.
Dude, it's Anchor. Anchor. Dude, they have creation tools that allow us to record and enter our podcast right from our phone or computer. They'll distribute our podcast for us to all the major podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Best part of it, dude, it's free. And for any other podcasters out there, if you switch to Anchor, you can start making money right away. All you got to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
This episode is brought to you by the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. Learn more at slashandcast.net.
Hello, you. Yes, you. The one I'm looking at right now. You like scary movies? Well, if you do, you're in the right place. You've joined the Dead in Santa Carla podcast with Bryan and Andy. Shouldn't that be Undead in Santa Carla? Well, Bryan and Andy are just a couple lost boys, aren't they? Or they will be when I'm through. Enjoy the show while you can.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Dead in Santa Carla, part of the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. I'm Bryan.
And I am Andy. What's going on, Bryan?
Nothing, buddy.
Hi, guys. Sorry, I'm in mid-laughter here. We were just laughing before we went live here, and here we are. Oh, man, what's going on? I'm in a good mood. How about you?
Yeah, I can tell you. I'm in a good mood, too. I'm just glad I had the day off because I just worked a 60-hour week, so...
Hell yeah, you did. You're a beast.
I try to do what I can do when they allow me to do it.
I strive to be Bryan Harrison every day of my life.
You ain't talking about. You've been working your ass off, man. You've been busting your ass.
Listen. No, but here's the thing. I am in a good mood, Bryan. Do you know I just turned 39 years old last month?
Yep, last month.
Okay, I turned 39 last month.
Right.
For those that don't know, some don't. I am a huge Cleveland sports fan. Huge. And we're recording this on Sunday, and I'm having a good day because I just turned 39 last month, and my Cleveland Browns are 3-1 for the first time since I was 20 years old. So I am in a good mood for those reasons. But other than that, I just watched football today. You were working all weekend. I watched football. I've been active on the Twitter lately. Our Twitter's been getting a lot of engagement. That's so much fun. That there was so much engagement on the Twitter. I'm glad everyone's enjoying that, by the way. If you're new to the podcast and you found us through Twitter, shout out. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely.
We're having, you know what I like about posting those pick 4 or pick 3s? What I like most about that, it's just fascinating and interesting to see everyone's favorite. It's super cool, especially the one that I did with the last. If you guys, those that don't know, we've been putting out tweets of like a list of a bunch of movies and pick your favorite 3 or favorite 4. And that list that we did that of the last 20 movies, horror movies released in the last 20 years. Yeah. Like literally every movie on that list is amazing.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Yeah.
Like literally they're all good. But it was cool to see so many different horror fans' favorite of those like 20 movies that were listed, the 4 favorites from those. It was very fascinating to see. That's what I enjoy most about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. And you can't even get mad at anybody's picks. You know what I mean? It's because you're right. Every single one of those movies was fantastic. So
I mean, like the combinations, like I saw, were like, damn, that's a good combination.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm half tempted to screenshot or write down half of them because you read like, hey, this is my 3 or 4 movies, and you're like, oh fuck, that would make a great like movie night. Like the combination
like a great
of those
triple
would be awesome.
feature.
Hell yeah.
I know. So it's been a lot of fun, and like we said, like you know, like it's fun. We wanted to be more interactive on Twitter, and I think we kind of figured out a little niche to be like, you know, interactive with people, and it's fun.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's enjoyable, and God, Lord knows I got time right now, so it's fun though. But yeah, if you guys haven't followed us on Twitter yet, go to Dead in SC podcast on Twitter. Hit us up, and yeah, we're check out some of these fucking these posts we've been doing. They're a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. Some of them are heartbreaking. Like the last
man.
One he put out, he said one of them had to go. Oh my god.
Yeah, no more of those, because I don't think I want to do those no more, because honestly, the other ones were fun because everyone loves a bunch of these different ones from the other list. This one was more of, yeah, fuck that one. Fuck
this
that
was heartbreaking.
One. Yeah, no.
It was legit Sophie's choice for horror fans. I'm telling you. For real.
So for those that don't know, we tweeted out today. We tweeted out one has to go. We listed 4 movies that you had to get rid of the one forever, and the list was the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween from 1978, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and Scream. When it started off, for the first hour and a half or so, it was pretty split between Texas and Scream. Like there was hardly there was a few Halloweens.
Yeah, a couple Halloweens.
Few Nightmares, but not a lot. It was mostly Scream and Texas. But as the day went on, Texas Chainsaw is definitely the one that people are like, get rid of that shit.
I was very surprised to see that, and it's funny because everybody was saying, well, not everybody, a lot of people are like, I can't believe Bryan said to get rid of Scream. I thought he would boot Texas Chainsaw quick as shit. But yeah, I was looking at it. I was like, God dang, man, that's a lot of motherfuckers that want to get rid of Chainsaw. I started counting because I noticed there were so many.
Yeah,
I got to over 40 people saying to get rid of Chainsaw, and then my heart was breaking. I just had to stop. Yeah. I was like, Jesus,
it's terrible. I mean, no, it's like I can't blame him. I love all 4 of those. Like I would give all 4 of those movies 4 out of 4 stakes to the heart, right? So it's like it's hard to choose, but I'm not surprised by Texas. I actually kind of saw I'm actually not surprised. I saw that being the one, because here's the thing. I think if a lot of younger horror fans aren't going to like Texas as much as Scream, number one,
right?
And Halloween's iconic, and not only is it why is it? I don't want to say this is why it's iconic, but you were more likely to watch Halloween because it's kind of a seasonal movie anyway. It's a holiday movie. You know what I mean? So it was on TV probably more than Texas. It's definitely a movie you're going to watch more likely at like 12, 11 years old that you're going to watch with your family opposed to Texas. So I mean, like thinking about, like, if you're 12 years old, you're going to watch a horror movie with your parents, you're probably going to watch Halloween over Texas. Like your parents are probably going to watch. So I think that's working against Texas a lot. And also, I think there are some hardcore fans that just don't regard Texas as much as a lot of horror fans do. But I think that's part of it. I think it's a younger audience. I think that's the only, maybe, I don't know.
Because a good question, really.
Because at the end of the day, like, while we talked about this in the Scream episode, like, I feel Scream is we agreed on this. It's one of the most brilliant horror scripts ever written. It's that good. It's just a cool story. It's a very good story. It's clever. It's intelligent. It's a lot of things. But when I stack it up against Chainsaw, like, which one is, as a viewer for my own personal viewership, which movie has a bigger impact on my viewing? And when I say impact, I don't mean like impact for like years to come, like inspiration. I mean just like the impact of what I'm watching. That's what kind of separates Texas for Scream for me, because I find Texas, because Scream is just so, or Texas is just so, Chainsaw is just so disturbing to me. You know, like that's kind of like the word I always use. It is, and for that reason, as a horror fan, for my own personal viewership, it just impacts me more of how disturbing it is, and therefore and not to mention that movie is just a fucking clinic how you shoot a horror film and how you use sound effects. clinic, a goddamn clinic. But no, I'm not surprised. I'm not. It's look, man, I got rid of Scream. I don't wanna.
I didn't want to pick. I almost didn't just because I didn't want to.
Yeah, more of those. I don't like the 4 ones. I like the ones with a bunch of lists and franchise. Yeah, that one's brutal. That broke my heart. But yeah, it's been fun on the Twitter. But we got I watched. So this movie we're talking about, dude, I had never seen this before.
I know. Okay, and here's what. Okay, well, you know what? Actually, let's just. I'm gonna save this question for the actual discussion. So sure. We'll go ahead and start to segue into that, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the love. Once again, you guys killed it. Like, you guys killed. We dropped 2 episodes this week, and they both just blew up. You guys are awesome. So thank you so much for the amazing support that you guys have been showing us. Any new listeners out there that just recently found us, welcome to the family. And also, if you guys haven't, and if you don't mind, it would be great if you guys headed over like Apple Podcasts and left us a nice rating and maybe even wrote a little review. It helps us out so much because it picks our podcast to suggest it for other listeners, and stuff like that. That would be awesome. I don't think I have anything more to say. Do you want to just go ahead and get into this, Andy?
Yeah, let's get into it. We're talking about, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Trick or Treat, or Ragman, as some people know it.
Not Trick or Treat, not to be confused with the Little Pumpkin Boy movie. Not that.
Not the one with Little Sam. Yeah, not Trick or Treat.
Not the one with cute Little Pumpkin Boy Sam. Not that one. And I love Trick or Treat. Love that movie.
That's a fantastic movie. That's great.
Fuck, I love that movie. Fuck, it was on one of the lists I did the other day, and it wasn't on mine, but I felt guilty.
It was tough, man.
That list was hard. But all right, Trick or Treat. I'm excited. Let's get into it, man.
All right, guys. Enjoy this discussion of Trick or Treat.
Wake up, sleepyhead.
It's party time!
Rock and roll will never die. At least not this Halloween.
You've heard of raising spirits from the dead by incantations, right?
I guess.
I did that by playing the record backwards.
You're kidding.
Sammy Kerr. He's a rock and roll nightmare.
I am a big fan of yours. I've got all your records. Shut up!
You're the big. The big is you.
This message is meant for me.
How can you listen to this stuff?
Shut it off! Shut it off!
What have you done to your stereo?
I wanted a new one.
Sammy Kerr. His fans won't let him die. He won't let them live.
You should be loyal to your hero. Make it turn on you.
Trick or Treat.
Looks like we better check out the party punch.
All right, Andy. So when you and I talked a couple of episodes ago, it might have been in the last episode or the one before, you had mentioned that you'd never seen Trick or Treat from 1986.
Yes.
And then you went on to tell me what you felt the movie was about. Now, I want you to tell me what you thought the movie was about again. Do you remember?
Okay. Yeah, I do. I completely remember because why I remember, like, even though I've never seen this movie before, for those that don't know, some of the listeners know, but those that don't know, I'm 39 now, but I was born and raised in a video store. My father first opened it up in 1985, and not 1885. I'm not that fucking old, but anyway, it was 1985 when the video store opened. And I remember this movie, Trick or Treat, because of the VHS cover, the VHS jacket, and it was very fucking badass looking. And I was always mesmerized by the I miss that, just scouring the shelves at my dad's video store, looking at these awesome horror jackets. And this stuck out to me. I remember thinking it was super cool, but I never watched the damn movie. But to answer your question, because of that cover, you asked me, I go, isn't that the movie about the doesn't like the devil possess his guitar or something? Isn't that what I said?
That is exactly what you said. You were like, it's about this guy that doesn't he have like the demon possesses his guitar. Now, Andy, is that what this movie's about?
No, it's definitely not.
Oh man, I love the fact that you'd never seen this movie. Yeah. You got to watch it at the ripe age of 39.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and honestly, I love hard rock. I love metal. I like rock and roll. I like classic rock. I'm a big rock fan. I love all that shit. So the fact that I had never seen this is kind of weird because I love horror and I love rock. So, and even metal, rock metal, or at least this era of music, like Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne are in this movie, and I love Black Sabbath and I love Kiss. So like, it's like, this is kind of like my music too. I like all types of music, but I definitely dig this genre for sure. So yeah, dude, the scores on this movie are actually pretty high too. Rotten Tomatoes critics 75% on this bad boy.
I know.
Out of eight tally count eight ratings, it has a 75%. Audience 6,700 plus ratings, 62%. It's coming in fresh on the audience as well.
I know. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
IMDb, it's a little lower, but it's still, honestly, it's higher than I expected for a cult movie like this from 1986. It has a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb. Not bad scores at all. Good.
I think those scores are pretty good.
Yeah. Dude, not bad. Not bad. Yeah. And yeah. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
For those that don't know too, Bryan is, he has a musician background. He was a singer in a metal band, right? But would you consider the music
hard rock?
Hard rock. Okay, hard rock.
Very
okay.
Heavy.
So yeah, it was very hard. Never mind. Anyway, so let me ask you. You're the one that picked this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one with a huge music background. You love music probably as much as you love horror, if not more.
Probably.
What is my question? My question is, when was the first time you saw this movie?
I'm glad you asked that question because I, a lot like you, remember this movie because of the VHS case. And now, unlike you, I didn't quite grow up in a video store, but I do remember, obviously, you and I grew up in the similar era of Friday nights. Your mom and dad take you to the video store, and you either get to rent like a NES game for the weekend or something.
Yep.
And I remember, the first place I always hit was the horror section. And the first thing that always happened was I got shot down. And then I moseyed on to the NES section like a sad sack of shit and picked out some barely memorable fucking NES cart and tried to play it throughout the weekend. But
yeah, man,
this
hopefully
was
Contra or Jackal. Hopefully,
no, I owned those.
Okay, perfect.
No, I usually ended up renting shit like fucking Total Recall or something like that. But I remember wanting to get this movie so many times and got shot down every fucking time, dude. And finally, like I gave up, started getting older, and then I kind of forgot about the movie. I didn't see this movie until I was in the military.
Okay.
Yeah, I had joined the military when I was getting ready to turn 20 years old. And I got to my permanent duty station down in Biloxi, Mississippi. I was stationed at Keesler Air Force Base. There was the awesomest video store ever to grace the planet, at least in my world anyway. And it was called Video City USA, and it was 24 hours a day. So you could go out, you get shit faced, and then at 3:00 in the morning, you want to watch a bad horror movie. They got you, man. And I remember I was dating my future ex-wife at the time, and we went and I saw it and I said, "Oh shit, my mom never let me rent this fucking movie. I'm a grown ass man. I'm gonna rent this movie now." And that's when I finally first saw it. I think I was 20 when I finally first watched this movie.
That's awesome.
And
that is
for me, it was worth the wait because I kind of love it.
Yeah,
I do.
So you saw it probably a good 10, 11 years, probably around 11 years after it was released.
Roughly,
right?
Yeah, roughly 11, 12 years.
Right. Yeah, 11, 12 years. That's it. So you actually, I was under the impression that you saw this when you were a teenager. Like
no, not at all. I wish.
I just, I envisioned young rocker, Bryan, just fucking.
Young rocker Bryan. Mom would not let him watch this damn movie for some reason. I don't know why. The funny thing is that she didn't say no a lot, but for some reason maybe she just didn't like Ozzy Osbourne or kid.
Honestly, it doesn't shock me because the whole core of this story is based upon, at the time, fears of the time, and one of those fears being parents and PTA presidents not liking metal music like Ozzy Osbourne and Alice Cooper and all those type of bands, So that's the thing I like about this story is that's actually pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of Nightmare 2 script taking advantage of, I don't want to say taking advantage, but using the times of that we're living in to kind of be the inspiration for your story.
Right.
So I kind of dig that about this movie. I told you the other day, man, I wasn't digging this at first, but I actually like this.
Yeah, you know what?
It's a lot of fun,
it's so
dude.
funny.
This movie is fucking fun.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not gonna lie. When you sent me that message, I knew you were. I knew because I was like, oh man. At first, I was like, oh man. But then when you said that you had just got to a certain part in the movie, I was like, oh, he's gonna change his tune shortly after this. Because you remember what you said. You were like, oh, I just finished this car scene, and I was like, oh, he's gonna start loving this fucking movie. I just knew it, dude. Oh man, I'm excited. I was so excited that you'd never seen this movie. That I was able to kind of introduce. This is great. Oh man.
No, I'm excited. No, I'm glad I finally got to watch it because, like I said, it was a very memorable. One of the most memorable VHS jackets that I remember. It was a really cool VHS cover. And after reading up on this movie, man, people that were involved in this movie, they went on to work in the business for a long time, for a lot of things. Charles Martin Smith, who directed this, he's got 88 acting credits. Dude, he would go on to be the director of the original Air Bud.
Yeah.
And he wrote and directed Dolphin Tale 1 and 2 as well.
That's good stuff.
I just think it's funny that the guy directed Trick or Treat went on to go direct Air Bud. That's amazing. That is funny. That's not a bad thing.
No,
not at all. Two of the co-writers and two of there was three writers on this. Rhett Topham, who I guess Eddie is kind of based off him. He's on record as saying that's me, that character. He's my middle name's even Eddie, I guess.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that character inspiration. I think he was the first one to kind of start developing the story. But the two other co-writers on this were Michael Murphy and Joel Soyson. They also co-produced this. Those guys would go. Those are the same. What they had done before this, they had both were producers on Nightmare 2.
Yep.
What's funny? Do you remember in the Nightmare 2 episode when we were talking, when we were just like, God, how did these guys not know what they were doing? And the one line producer, he was on that Never Sleep Again documentary. He's and he said the line I don't know if we were just naive and stupid or just completely gay. I don't know which one else, because they didn't know.
I remember that.
It's when they were talking about, they didn't realize the gay, the gay subtext and undertones in Nightmare 2. Well, he's That's Joel Soyson. Mm-hmm. He's the co-writer and director of this, or no, co-writer and co-producer. He would go on to produce Bill and Ted, which tells me he must have some type of music.
Probably, probably got some music background.
Within 4 years, he did 2 movies where music is kind of the focal point.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's got to be something going on there. And ironically, Bill and Ted starred Keanu Reeves. Almost said Christopher Reeve. Jesus. Keanu Reeves. Apparently, Keanu Reeves was beaten out for the role of Eddie in this movie.
He was. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But he would end up to go work with these people. Yeah, he would go on to work with these people again in Bill and Ted. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of people involved in this. You know, Kevin Yeager did the special effects.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Dude, this movie really does have a lot of talent behind it. Honestly, it really does.
I mean, Kevin Yeager did the design for Freddy on Nightmare 2, 3, and 4, I believe. He is the designer and creator of Chucky's look. He did the animatronics in 1 and 2. And did the design and all that. I mean, Kevin, Sleepy Hollow, it goes on and on for Kevin Yeager. He's a legend in the business. He did the special effects on this.
I love it. I fucking love it. So, oh man, we could go on and on and on, really, about people that are involved in the movie.
It's funny
because, I mean, before we even get into the movie, obviously Gene Simmons is in this too. And he plays a DJ in the movie, but he was actually offered the role of our antagonist, Sammy Kerr. But when reading the script, he just was like, I really kind of like the role of this DJ Newt guy. So, yeah, because he modeled the character after Wolfman Jack as well, which is he's popular from back in the day. They had also they had cast Blackie Lawless of Wasp. He was actually set to play Sammy Kerr, and then he had to bounce out for unknown reasons.
Actually, I read a reason. I guess he only wanted to do it if he could create the music too, and they were already told. What was the band? Lifeway? What was the name of the band on this?
Fastway is the name of the
Fastway.
Yeah.
Yes. They were like, no, we already got Fastway doing it. And he's like, well, fuck it. I'm not doing your movie.
Oh, okay.
I guess that's how it went. That's what I read. I don't know how. That's what the internet tells me.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be true, right? So it's in black and white.
I read it on the internet. It's got to be true. I reckon I just read that on the web. It got to be true, right? Yeah.
So
not always.
Fastway, the band that's made
I don't know this band.
They're kind of a quote unquote. You call them kind of a super group because they were actually started by
Motorhead.
By a former member of Motorhead. Yeah, Fast Eddie Clark. And he was a guitarist for Motorhead. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's kind of how the band kind of came into fruition. I think they've got members of UFO and Flogging Molly. I think this is the only album they did. I want to say
that makes sense because I've never heard of them.
They put out a lot actually, but they probably never.
I've never heard of them. I will say the original music in this is fucking good.
It's fucking great. The soundtrack for this is awesome.
Sounds like awesome. It sounds like awesome mid 80s hard rock. That's what I love it.
Yep. Yeah, this was oh my God, I was so wrong. This was their 4th album.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
They put an album out in 83. Their self-titled. Yeah, they put out looks like 7 albums. 7 albums. Yeah, that's crazy.
Interesting.
Wow, I was way off. They put one out recent, 9 years ago.
Yep.
But anywho, that's just a little taste of the talent. I mean, we also got some recognizable faces because Eddie, our main player, Eddie Weinbauer, is played by Mark Price. If any of y'all have ever watched the show,
Family Ties. Wasn't he the neighbor on Family Ties? He was the funny ass neighbor on Family Ties. He was hilarious. Yeah, Skippy. Yeah, he was hilarious on that show.
There you hilarious. Go. He was a stand up comedian too, so that's why his comedy chops are on point. I don't know how much he does nowadays. He probably does a little bit of touring.
Yeah, I guess he actually lost a role because I read this too. The producers from Family Ties wouldn't let him do it. Do you remember the movie Can't Buy Me Love with Pat Dempsey?
Yeah. He was supposed to be that.
he won the role, and he got the role, and Family Ties would not let him do it.
You got to be fucking kidding me! Wow, because that role
that's a good movie. Is
it Patrick?
I know.
Yeah, he became a big star probably because of that.
Dude, and that's a cute little 80s romantic comedy.
I kind of have a fucking soft spot for that movie.
I will admit it's been years since I've seen it. It's literally been probably 20 years since I've seen it at least. But I remember I've seen that at least a few times. It was actually one of the first romantic comedies that, as a young movie watcher, like a kid, that I would watch. That I watched a couple times. You know what I mean? It was one of my first. Like that and Say Anything are like the first romantic comedies that I really truly really remember.
Yeah.
Like watching like for the first time. But yeah, he was supposed to. Yeah, he was offered the role, and that he had won the role. Yeah.
Wow.
Too bad.
That's crazy. That's so funny because didn't Family Ties production try to keep Michael J. Fox from playing in Back to the Future
doing
also?
It was Teen Wolf, I believe.
Oh, so they tried to keep him from doing Teen Wolf. Okay.
And actually, you know what? It might have been Back to the Future because you're right, because it's weird because a lot of people know this already, but some don't. Michael J. Fox, wasn't originally cast as Marty McFly. It was Eric Stoltz, right?
Yeah, Eric Stoltz, yeah.
And there's actually footage. If you've never seen that, there's footage online.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the scenes, not only was he cast, they had already began filming.
They were like I think they were like 2 weeks into production. They were like 2 weeks.
Yeah, like the mall scenes, the scenes at the mall parking lot and stuff. There's footage of Eric Stoltz playing Marty McFly on there. Yeah. But
in fact, Eric Stoltz is actually in the finished cut. You know what scene?
Is he?
Yeah.
Where?
We're completely off track, but fuck that. This is a funny little anecdote. When Marty punches Biff in the malt shop,
you're right.
The cut of the fist flying at Biff's face. That's Eric Stoltz's fist.
That's
because
so funny.
He is like Eric Stoltz is like a foot taller than Michael J. Fox or some shit. No, he's probably not literally a foot, but he's considerably taller than him. And yeah, you can tell that's totally
funny.
Not Michael J. Fox's fist. So yeah,
funny.
So yeah, I guess that earns would you say that earns you a stunt double credit at least?
Sure.
So yeah, scour your credits, guys. See if they robbed Eric Stoltz of a stunt double credit. I'm sure they did.
I'm excited to talk about this movie though.
Yeah, me too.
I like this Sammy Kerr character played by the late Tony Field. He died when he was 36. He died in 1995.
It's very sad.
That's terrible.
Very sad.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
So he developed AIDS and then cancer afterwards. I guess. I guess he died of AIDS and then secondary was cancer.
Yeah. That is literally the exact same thing that killed my uncle. The same exact combination. Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah. And being one that kind of watched my uncle die a little bit, not pleasant. So yeah. It's super sad. He was a super accomplished dancer,
right?
And in fact, I think he's inducted into like a dance school's Hall of Fame and everything.
You talking about Tony Fields?
Yeah, Tony Fields. Yeah,
because dude, he was he was a professional dancer, dude. He's one of the zombies in Thriller.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The Michael Jackson Thriller, y'all. The greatest. Still, can you believe that's still this many years later the greatest music video of all time? I don't even know how it's debatable.
I don't think. I don't think there's anything quite close except maybe another Michael Jackson video.
Yeah, another Michael Jackson. Yeah, maybe Bad or Beat It. Fucking Yeah, I know. But I'm excited to talk to this movie, man. This is a revisit for you and a first time viewing for me. So this should be
all right. So yeah, let's kind of get into it, everybody. We basically open with we meet our main player pretty much right off the bat. Our Eddie Weinbauer is our main player in this movie. He's a kind of a social outcast. He's a metalhead, and back in like the mid '80s. Honestly, metalheads, they were kind of treated like shit. They were kind of looked down upon. They just didn't look like they fit into what society felt people should be. But we start with him basically writing a letter to his hero, which is a heavy metal kind of legend almost, and his name is Sammy Kerr. Sammy Kerr went to the same high school as Eddie. Yeah, total rock star.
Yeah,
big, huge.
Yeah.
And but he went to the same high school as this kid, and so he kind of looks up to him because he's like, look, if you got out of this shit situation, I know I can too. And he's like writing a very passionate letter about, how, he knows that, he's getting treated like shit and blah, blah, blah. But he knows that if you can make it out, I can too. And one of these days, these people are going to basically get what they deserve, kind of.
Yeah, and he's pretty much saying, like, your inspiration is keeping me from committing suicide.
Yeah, he says that. Yeah, he actually says that, yeah. So this kid's in a dark place.
He is.
But he's latched on to this guy, the Sammy Kerr person. Because he made it big. He's huge. He's a huge rock star. And he's also very controversial, too. Because we do get some scenes of Eddie at school. And, dude, these, like, bullies, this is elite level bullying, okay? Like, they legit take, he's in PE, takes a shower, goes to his clothes. All of these guys are all fucking around with all of his shit. And they end up basically kind of shoving him almost into the gym where the girls are playing volleyball. He's butt ass naked. They rip his towel off and just lock his ass out.
Dude,
and
these bullies are terrible.
They're the fucking worst.
This poor bastard. Dude, how embarrassing would that be?
Dude, that's horrible.
Guys,
horrible.
Can you imagine you're like, let's just say this kid's 16.
Yeah,
imagine
roughly.
your 16 sophomore year of high school self. Even if you were kind of an outsider, you didn't even have to be, but you're getting picked on, getting bullied, and you get thrown locked into a gym butt naked with a bunch of like good looking volleyball players.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. How embarrassing, man. That's horrible. And one of them takes a fucking Polaroid picture. For those of you listening that don't know, for those of you that don't know what Polaroids are. Back in the day, you could take a picture and it would pop right out of the camera.
It was amazing.
It was amazing, yeah. A side note, Polaroid's making a comeback. Anywho,
are they?
Yeah, they actually have little Polaroid cameras now. They're kind of popular and they work. Picture pops right out. Anywho, so this is like he is legit getting like totally fucking bullied. He's getting harassed. Half of these kids could go to fucking jail for some of the shit they've done to him.
Dude, one incident here, dude. It's attempted murder.
It is. It's attempted, and we're gonna get to it too. Yeah,
get to it.
It's super fucking It's super fucking noteful. Okay, yeah.
Dude,
we'll definitely get there.
I'm not calling the principal or my guidance counselor. I'm calling the police and my fucking lawyer.
So. It shows him, so these are kind of like establishing, it's an establishing sequence, a montage, if you will, of him being fucking treated like shit at school. Now he's at home doing some laundry, and on the news is Idol. And there's like this report about him and how he had gone up against Congress, basically, because they're trying to like, censor all those music and maybe ban it in certain areas and stuff. And he's like kind of defending metal, and then it ends with her saying, once again, Sammy Kerr, victim of a hotel fire and is dead. And this is how Eddie finds out. He's just like, holy shit. He finds out that his icon is dead. His hero is dead. And he doesn't take it well, man.
No. He just wrote the guy a letter saying, hey, man, thanks for you. If it wasn't for you, I'd just kill myself.
Yeah, exactly. And now his hero is gone. So he like goes to his room. He kind of loses it. He rips like every fucking metal poster down that he could possibly see, except he stops when he gets to the Sammy Kerr one, and he just leaves that one up, and that's it. So he's having a rough go of it, man. But he kind of takes himself, jumps in his car. He's got his own personalized plate it says Ragman on it, because that's actually what this movie is called overseas. A lot of places called Ragman.
Yes.
He drives to the local radio station where we meet the legendary Gene Simmons. Everybody knows him as a member of Kiss. One of the greatest rock and rollers ever to grace this planet.
Yeah. He's pulled more tail than Wilt Chamberlain at a Playboy bunny party. Yeah, for sure.
True story.
Jesus. God.
So
legend.
Legend. So he's,
and not to mention, I love Kiss.
Kiss is great. Yeah, fantastic, man. I love it.
Yeah.
So he goes to the DJ. His name is Nuke, and they kind of got a friendship kind of thing going. You know, he knows him, he's recognizing something. So he's talking to him, and they talk briefly about Sammy dying, and like Nuke is kind of like, well, you know, he kind of brought this on himself. You know, he got caught up in his own hype, you know, stuff like that. Like, right. Because he started, I guess he's just trying to make this kid like realize that, you know, this is probably, he did this to himself, but maybe try and steer this kid away from the same kind of lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But he actually has a copy of the very last Sammy Kerr album that has yet to be released. And it's on
it's a demo, right?
Yeah, it's like a big it's a master demo, and it's you know, the music's complete and everything, but it's like it's on a record, guy. So it's like
on vinyl, baby.
You take a CD, and you stretch it out and paint it black.
Yeah, and you put this little fucking needle on it, and it spins around. It's pretty cool.
I say we laugh about that, but vinyl's making a huge comeback. So
it is.
He gives it to him. He says, "You can have it." You know, he's like, "I think Sammy would have wanted you to have it," and because he knows how big a fan he is. But he's actually, he tells him, he's like, "I got a copy of it on tape. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play the whole album midnight Halloween night," and it's like a tribute to Sammy. So he takes off with the only other copy of this on vinyl. And he goes home and he pops it on and he listens to it, and he starts getting fucking crazy messages. Because back then, backwards masking was like, I'm not going to say it was popular, but it was a popular legend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a legend. Yeah, I think
they're backwards messages. So you take the vinyl, you spin it backwards, and you can hear what he's saying. And he does that, and it's like some cryptic messages. You know, about like him being the bait, you know, and stuff like that.
Yes. I think like Pink Floyd and the Beatles had legends that if you played them backwards, those were two bands that I remember that I've heard the legend. What's that term called again?
Backwards masking.
Backwards masking. That's right. Yes.
So he gets some cryptic message about like him being the bait, you know, and whatnot. And he takes that message. He kind of feels like it's him that telling him to strike back against the bullies. You know, how funny is this trap?
Dude, this movie is so funny. You know what this movie, honestly, the dynamic of this movie, it's kind of with and I'm really talking about Sammy Kerr's character. It's very reminiscent of Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger to a certain extent, except instead of nightmares, he's coming through music.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's actually quite eerily similar to
it is a little bit. And then we find out, well, we'll get to it. And then I got some questions.
This fucking movie, bro. Guys, like honestly, this was my first viewing, and we're going to keep continuing through the movie. I just want to get this out real quick. Like, this movie, I like this movie. One of the reasons I like this movie, I think, is they really captured the era of 86, this time era. Like, it really reminds me of it's very cheesy, but we've talked about this before. This movie has the good cheese.
It is. It's definitely the good cheese. Absolutely.
It's not the bad cheese, you know. It's not the bad Jaws 3D fucking cheese. This is like the good cheese. And it's just this movie's funny too.
Yeah, it is funny. There's some good humor in it. This section is funny right here because this is when he kind of strikes back against the bullies. He sets up like legit, like if y'all ever played Mousetrap the game, that's what this fucking trap kind of reminds me of in a way. He like moves a chair to a certain spot, moves a mop and bucket to a certain spot, And then he's like, okay, I'm going to lead them through here, you know, so he knows where his little traps are that he can set off for these guys. But he goes into the, oh, wait, we skipped an important scene. We skipped a very important scene.
Sure.
Because this is, he hasn't gone to the pool party yet, has he?
Oh, God.
Yeah. He has not. Okay, that's a very important scene because that's what we were talking about earlier. So he's got a crush. Eddie has a crush on her name is Leslie, right?
Yes.
And she talks to him, and she's kind of nice. Like, she gives him the picture that girl took of him booty ass naked, so he can throw it away, you know, or destroy it or whatever. So
she's really nice.
Yeah, she's actually really nice.
She likes Eddie. She likes Eddie a little bit.
Yeah, she does. She kind of likes him. He kind of likes him. But he goes to this. She invites him that when she gives that, she's like, you know, why don't you come to the pool party? They actually in this town, they break in massive groups, break and enter into a closed pool.
Hell yeah!
Like literally, like you know, usually when you do a B&E, guys, no more than like 2-3 people. But no, it's about,
it's a whole
it's
party.
About fucking 45,
it's a fucking
50.
Pool party.
Yeah, exactly. They got 50 some odd kids or so in this ginormous pool, and like a bottle of an empty bottle of whiskey keeping the door propped open so they don't get, you know, so they don't have to go check the door all the time. But he shows up. He ends up going because, you know, like I said, he has a little crush on this girl Leslie. So he shows up. But he shows up, and of course when he gets there, she's not there yet. And his nemesis comes up to him, and played by Doug Savant. His name is Tim. And Doug Savant's done
I recognized him too.
Stuff.
He was in Teen Wolf. He was in Teen Wolf. He was one of the teammates in Teen Wolf.
Yeah, he was. Well, he was really big, and like he got popular Melrose Place.
Yeah, Melrose Place.
Yeah.
Yep.
But and he played Desperate Housewives too. Yeah. So Doug Savant is kind of the lead bully, and he sees him and basically he tells him to get the fuck out, essentially, and they kind of bully him around a little bit. And while they're doing that and kind of shoving him around a little bit, one dude picks up a heavy ass weight and drops it in Eddie's backpack. And then they kind of shove him into the fucking pool.
Yeah, it's like you said. If you're gonna B&E, don't bring 50 people. Also, if you're gonna B&E, don't fucking add attempted murder to your fucking shit.
Exactly, man.
Dude, that's attempted murder. I'm 100%. Sorry, if you put a giant 100%. Weight in someone's strapped backpack and then throw him in a pool. Dude, that's attempted murder.
They just watched him. They just watched him like he's struggling
because he just stand there.
Yeah, they just stand there and watch. And he's like because he's trying to get the backpack off while he's underwater, but he's on his back, you know, because that's the heaviest source, and his like legs are all up and everything. So luckily, though,
who jumps in and helps?
Yeah,
who jumps in and helps?
Leslie, man, she's a fucking gangster.
I like
her. She does. She's cute too.
She's very cute.
She jumps in. And she jumps in and rescues him. Leslie's played by Lisa Orgolini. I haven't seen her, I don't think, any.
I don't think so either. That was one thing I was surprised with this movie. I expected some pretty bad acting. It's actually not terrible.
No, it's not at all. It's competent.
It's really not. It is. It honestly. This movie was a lot more competent than I thought it would be. I'm serious. But one thing I didn't say yet, I get why you fuckers love this movie. I get why this movie has a cult class. I get.
Yeah.
I really like. To me, this is like kind of the poster child of what a cult movie is. Like this is it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is definitely it. And if you are a fucking fan of hard rock and metal and horror and you've never seen this movie, what the fuck are you doing,
dude? For real,
change that. Change that. Like this is, if you're a metal and horror fan, this is a must watch. 100%.
100%.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. So she jumps in, she rescues him because she's fucking awesome. He doesn't react very well to it because he feels like she was kind of setting him up at first, and whatnot. So he kind of goes off on her a little bit, but he takes off, and that's the night that he actually finally listens to the record and he hears the message. That's the night. So he gets up and he starts to plan his little trap. You know, we see him set a chair in a spot and a bucket and a mop in another spot. Then he goes right up to lead bully Doug Savant, fucking Tim.
Yep.
And he plops his foot. He's confident as shit. I'm not gonna lie. I love his confidence. He rolls up. He puts his foot up on the chair, elbow on his knee, looks at him, and then he slams his freaking lunch tray with all of his food on it right into the dude's shirt. And then he does what I would have done, and he takes the fuck off running. He's just like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. But him, like, I think it looks like fucking 5 or 6 people start chasing after this poor kid.
I know.
And they're running through the schools. They're like, there's some pretty funny spots. Cause like they run through the library, and instead of running, they all start just fast walking.
I know. It's so funny. Those are like the little doses of humor in this that are actually pretty good. Because that would totally happen too. Like, but it's just funny the situation they're in. Like these bullies are literally chasing down this kid that beat the shit out of him, and they go through the library, and then Eddie starts just like walking, like you said, stops running and just doing a fast fucking walk. And then the bullies behind him do the same thing.
I know.
It's so funny.
It is super funny, man. And I laughed so hard. Every time I get to that part, I laugh so hard. And then they also, we see the traps get set because like he comes around and he takes the chair and he shoves it. Or he pulls it behind him, and then they trip over the chair. And then when he runs by the mop and the bucket, he tips it over, and one of them slips on it and flies, like super slapstick style, flies out of a fucking door. It's so awesome,
dude. Like literally goes flying. It's amazing. I remember that part happened. I went, "What the fuck?"
It's so good. Oh man. It also leads us through the band room, and like they cause nothing but chaos running through this band room, tripping over guys playing their fucking trombones and trumpets and shit and tubas, and but it finally culminates with him running down an aisle, and he goes in one door, and they go up to a different door, and they're sure that he's in there, and this is where I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid. But they grab a fire extinguisher, open the door, and Tim just immediately starts blasting whoever is in there with water from the fire extinguisher. It's the goddamn teacher's lounge. He blasts like 6 fucking teachers with water. And what does he say? He's just like, "Take this, motherfucker," or some shit like that. Yeah, I can't remember what he says.
He opens the door. I know. He opens the door like he's fucking Chuck Norris about to unload on a fucking village of fucking enemies. And it's fucking the teacher's lounge, and there's like 6 teachers huddled around the table, and they all go flying and falling out of their chairs. Old lady and men alike, old women and men alike. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's too good. So yeah, he goes back. He chalks this up as a moral victory for himself, you know. And,
as he should,
because he's just made these guys look like complete ass clowns. To all through the school, all over the place. Everybody saw them chasing him, and they get in trouble. He goes home and celebrates by talking to his record. And he ends up getting another message. And they start to get darker, you know, like the tone is it's definitely starting to get more menacing, whereas this one was kind of like almost like a playful jab at him. It quickly starts to get serious. Because it starts to, you can start to tell that there's something very much more on this. It's Sammy that's speaking to him through the record, guys. Sammy has something much more sinister in mind, and helping Ragman here get a little bit of revenge.
Right.
So he gets the other message. He actually plays the shit for his buddy Roger, who is awesome. Also, Roger is like ultra awesome best friend. And he's like a producer he's the producer on the X-Files. And he also worked on the Final Destination franchise. Producer and writer and stuff.
Yeah, he wrote he would go on to write the screenplay for you're talking about the guy who plays Roger?
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, Glenn Morton.
Yeah, he went. Yeah, it's crazy. He went on the right Final Destination and co-producer, and then he was one of the main producers on the X-Files and was a writer on the X-Files as well. It's I can't. That was the one thing that fascinated me. That fascinated me a ton with researching this movie that I had never seen was just the background, like what a lot of these people that were involved in this film ended up going on to do. It's kind of crazy. I did not expect, like, you always find like one or two maybe tops, right? And especially a movie like kind of would you consider this movie obscure a little bit? It's obscure.
I mean, it's
you can't even rent it anywhere. You can't buy it or rent it anywhere, really, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely obscure. 100%. Oh yeah, this is totally obscure.
Right, it's a totally. I mean, like we were saying, this is what a cult movie is. Like honestly, you could put this under a category of horror, or you could literally put this in the cult. If you had a cult section, this could go in the cult section, 100%. But what I was getting at was like, it's just kind of. I don't know. Like when I was researching, like you always expect to see a face or two, dude. It's literally like 6 people and 7 people involved in this movie. From writer, director, producers, cast that really went on to do some cool shit in the business. I love it. But go ahead. Let's
absolutely.
Let's go.
Okay.
It's so cool though. I love, you know me. I love finding out.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah. I that's why part of why I knew you would kind of dig this movie, because I know there's a lot of like recognizable people that worked in this.
Dude, Kevin Yeager did the practical effects and makeup.
I know, it's great
practical effect on this. I mean,
and they're
awesome.
good too. They don't look like shit either. Yeah. Like Sammy Kerr. Like he shows up eventually, and he looks fucking awesome.
He does.
So,
and again, it's got a little Freddy look. That makeup,
a little bit of a Freddy look. Yeah, he's a little burnt.
I'm telling you, there's a little Freddy inspiration. I don't want to say rip off because it's not, but they're definitely taking a page out of the Freddy Krueger book in this movie, dude. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So he explains, he plays this stuff for Roger, and Roger really doesn't, he doesn't buy too much into it, honestly. He just kind of thinks that it's like, he's like, oh, it's just backward masking, dude. It's common, all these guys are doing it nowadays, blah, blah, blah. No big deal. But this next message sends Eddie to a certain room in the school, and it's 66 crush is the message, and so he goes to like room 66, and it's kind of like the like a shop class. Yeah, and he's sitting in there and he's just waiting, and then of course the bully and a buddy shows up, and Tim is not impressed with how cocky Eddie has become, because he's very confident now, and so he quickly like launches him out of his fucking desk and everything, and kicks his fucking Walkman across the room. Oh, for those of you that don't know, Walkmans were little personal cassette tape players.
Yes,
much akin to like a MP3 player. Did you have a Walkman?
I did.
Yeah, I had a Walkman too.
I did, and when they dropped on CD, I got one too. Like
I had
CD.
I had a Sony Discman.
Yeah, I think that's what I had too. The Sony Discman. Yeah, I think that's what I had too. Yep.
Oh man, remember when we thought that was like as good as technology was gonna get? It was like, oh man, this is amazing. Like I could play this CD wherever I go.
Dude, I take my little book of CDs, my zip up, like my little black covered CD book that zipped up. Yeah, I'd take that everywhere with me. Yeah, I know.
Did you have a lot of cassettes when you were younger too?
I did, definitely.
Did you have the same wood paneled cassette storage case that I had?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking 100%. About? Like those wood.
Yeah. I still have. Yeah. I never got rid of it. I still have it. I still have my Michael Jackson's Thriller cassette. I still have it.
I used to have Thriller on vinyl.
I didn't have it on vinyl.
Destroyed in flood.
Oh God.
I cried almost. I mean, I wanted to. I was very upset. I had it on vinyl, and the flood of 1993 ripped through
Thoughts
the
and
Midwest
prayers.
area. Yeah, it was very
Thoughts
sad.
and prayers.
So, anywho,
you hate to see it.
You
folks.
do. You hate to see it.
You truly do.
All right, so kicks his Walkman across the room. He starts kind of crawling away. He gets kind of rocked a little bit by Tim, honestly, and he gets basically chucked across the fucking room.
He does.
Tim starts throwing fucking wrenches and shit at him, man.
Yeah, dude, what is this dude's problem?
He doesn't like metal. Like, that's legit the only thing. It's like his biggest thing was he says, listening to that crap, why don't you be normal? Even that's what that bitchy girl that said.
Dude, that guy was busy listening to Wham and fucking like listening to fucking Take On. Like, his favorite song was probably Take On Me. Like, get out of here. Get out of here, bro.
You take your fucking Hall & Oates listen ass and get out of my fucking face. Why don't you go listen to Maneater one more time, douchebag? Full disclosure, I literally like every single band music that we just mentioned, but for the sake of getting behind Eddie's beliefs, fuck you.
I'm not even lying when he was saying that shit about like, yeah, I'm fucking metal, fuck you. Like, bro, like my first thought is like, man, this guy's favorite song is Take On Me. For sure. Take on me. Take on me. Like that dude, I just envision that dude and his shitty fucking red Thunderbird just fucking listening. But anyway. I digress.
Man. All right, so
you're a better singer than me, that's for sure.
So he chucking fucking wrenches and shit at him, and then he goes to reach for another one, and this guy's wearing a tie. Like, just randomly, I thought it was kind of strange outfit choice.
I thought so.
But
why
he
is
does have a button-up shirt with a tie on and everything. I don't know.
Hey.
But he is wearing a tie, and
I guess it makes sense. He hates metal and likes Take On Me, so it kind of fits. So we'll
he probably
I don't know if that was
to the Miami Vice soundtrack over and over again.
I don't know if that was part of that character. Like, I know that that was not part of that. In my eyes, that's part of this character. Is their favorite song is "Take On Me." I don't know why, but anyway,
I like it.
It's fine. It's fine.
So he reaches for another wrench, and this little machine.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? This machine.
You've already tried to drown the fucker. Let's bludgeon him with wrenches now.
Well, the machine kicks on, and his tie gets wrapped around this thing, and quickly he's pulled down, and I don't know what this fucking machine is, but it looks like it was just designed to murder a person. This fucking big ass like shaft shoots towards him, and it's got these spikes on it, and they're going right into his eye, okay? And it's slowly getting closer and closer and closer. And then another machine kicks on. Sparks start shooting out to keep his buddy from coming to help him, all right? And this just happens. I don't know. Like, nobody turns this on. This just happens. So Tim is screaming for Eddie to turn the machine off. Eddie goes up to the power, and he grabs the switch, and he just watches it get closer and closer and closer and closer to this dude's eyes and get ready to just slam right into this dude's face, and he shuts it off right when it gets to his face. Okay? So he's not down to kill the dude, but he definitely wanted to scare the shit out of him. So definitely. He gets back to the house, and he makes he gets another message, and then he makes a copy of the album on a cassette tape. And then he actually wraps the cassette tape up in like a piece of paper, and he writes a note on it, and he puts it on Tim's locker. Now Eddie's got a little more confidence now. You know, he's walking like he's feeling it, man. Walking around like he's got the biggest dick in the school. You know, I mean, he feels good about himself, and rightfully so. He did kind of punk out this guy a little bit. But Tim gets the tape, and he reads it, and it says the message says a peace offering from Eddie. And he keeps the tape, and he throws the note away. Well, this is the night that Tim has a date with what's this girl's name again? I can't remember. Sylvia? No, that's not. What's this?
I can't remember.
I can't remember this girl's name, but she's the girl that she's the girl that was making fun of Eddie at the pool first. I can't remember her name. Yeah. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. She's a total cunt anyway. But anyway.
Yeah. So you're right. I mean, she fucking is. This is where this is when shit starts to really get really interesting, Eddie, doesn't it? Go ahead.
This is a scene where I'm talking about cheese. Like, this is pretty good cheese.
This is
some people aren't gonna like this. Like the reveal, especially, they're not gonna like that. But dude, how silly this plays out. It actually somehow works. It's in some goofy, weird, fucking cheesy way. This scene, especially the reveal, works for me.
It does, doesn't it?
I don't know how, because it looks fucking terrible.
A little bit.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's not very. It doesn't look. This is the only thing. Like, dude, come on. What?
It's a little bit. It's a little ridiculous, really. It
looks like,
ridiculous.
dude. It looks like a fucking Jim Henson Muppet reject. This thing. This was like the fucking. It didn't make it into Dark Crystal, bro. Like, that's what this thing. It was a Dark Crystal Jim Henson Muppet reject, bro.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so the scene we're talking about is Tim goes on a date, and he's drunk, but he's making out with this girl in the back, and he has to pee, so he's just like, I gotta go back. So he steps out, and while she's got a Walkman back there, and she finds the tape, pops the tape in, pops the Walkman on, hits play, and proceeds to have the most erotic experience she's ever had. The music is like, he's all fucking sensual, like drum beats and shit. And she's getting fucking into it. And then, like, you could say, what color is that? Green? Is it green?
It's green. It's green. Yeah. It's definitely green.
This green mist starts to come out of the headphones, and it envelops her body and shit. And it's like caressing her and stuff. It's kind of fucking awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
It's wild.
I think it's kind of fucking awesome.
Normally, these scenes are kind of like, it's like, but this doesn't feel like it doesn't feel sexually assaultish or rapey at all, because she's totally consenting.
Yeah, she's definitely into it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's into, like, she's not like rejecting this at all.
No, not at all.
Like,
no.
Usually I don't like these kind of scenes, but this one was okay because she's totally into it.
Totally.
But totally. Yeah. And it dude, she's really fucking into it.
She's super into it, man. She's like she's sweating like this, and the mist starts coming out. It starts undoing her blouse and stuff, and pops it off, and then and then she pops her bra off and everything. She's sweating. She's getting all into it. And then she opens her eyes. And she sees this demon thing that's totally
the Dark Crystal reject. The Dark Crystal fucking reject. Yes.
And she screams, of course, and Tim he's peeing, and he hears her, and he runs back. And like when he's running towards the car is like rocking like it's its job. And then it stops. Yeah. And he opens the back door, and she's like unconscious. And he goes to take the headphones off, and the headphones fucking melted to her head.
Yeah, like her ears, like completely, like essentially, like burnt, melted off.
Yeah, it's
fucking wild.
She's
the makeup on that was pretty solid.
Yeah,
too.
It was really good. Yeah,
pretty cool. Looks really good.
So she's not dead though. But this is when Tim drives to Eddie's house. Oh, wait, we get to see a fucking funny sequence with Eddie's mom. Because she's strapping off her laundry, and she's like, what is she? I can't remember how she bumps his stereo, and it turns on. It's like loud as hell metal, and she starts freaking the fuck out trying to turn it off, and she finally slaps
the shit out of turn the stereo off, dude.
When she turns around, he's staring at her like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, we're just staring at her, and he's you can see.
I like how she goes, "Oh, I was just putting your laundry away." And then she goes, there's like, okay, he's like, okay, or whatever. She goes, oh, it's clean. Like, no shit, Bob. You just told me you're putting my laundry away.
Oh man, it was funny. But anywho, Tim goes to Eddie's house to have like a little talk with him because he's, you know, you're whatever you fucking put on the tape, put her in the hospital and blah blah blah. He's pretty upset. So he's just basically, he says, you stay the fuck away from me, dude. He's scared of him. Tim is scared of Eddie now. Like, he's just like, you stay the fuck away from me. Don't come near me. Don't ever fucking come near me. Just stay away. And, but what's really funny is because, like, when Tim goes to walk up to Eddie just puts his hand up out at him and he stops. He's just like,
oh my God.
He stops dead in his tracks. All he did was put his hand up towards him, like getting ready to say, like, whoa, you know, like that. And then he just stops because he freaks out. And I love it. I think it's so cool. He's just like, because he thinks this guy's like a voodoo master or some shit, or like a wizard, like a dark wizard.
I know. Dude, that's another thing. Not only is this movie cheesy, this movie's kind of fucking goofy.
It is a little bit.
There's a little, but I usually like goofy and weird, so it kind of works for me. Mm-hmm. This movie's not going to work for some people. It's not, and it's understandable. But this movie does work for me, dude. For some reason, dude, like I just couldn't look away.
Yeah.
I can't look, like I was engaged to the entire watch, man. I really, truly was. Because I watched it a second time today. And so I watched it twice this weekend. The first viewing didn't go as well, but you're right. You called it. The first half, I was like, what the fuck? And like, oh, what is this? But like, as it gets going, and I feel like I was more engaged into the story from the beginning on the second viewing. And I kind of got more of appreciation of the character Eddie, I think, a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially in the first act. But yeah, this movie's goofy, dude.
A little bit.
What is this movie?
It's awesome, is what it is.
It is. It's a big plate of fucking awesomeness.
Yeah. All right, so Eddie has no desire to partake in murderous schemes because he's a good kid at heart.
He is.
So he basically goes. He starts talking to the record. You know, he's like, "Hey, you know, I'm done with this. I'm stepping out. I'm not. I'm not down for killing anybody." Well, Sammy kind of causes some shit to happen, and you know, he ends up getting I guess enough power that he actually fucking shows up. He busts out of like the record and the speaker and shit. And he shows up and he looks fucking badass. I think Sammy Kerr looks super cool in this movie. Tony Fields looks fantastic. He's got this really awesome rock metal 80s hairdo. And wearing these black leather pants, and he's got some like studs. Yeah, he looks fucking rad. And he has some burns on his face.
He does,
and basically tells him, he's like, "Hey, look, you're in it this far. It's gonna happen." So Eddie ends up trashing like his stereo to get rid of Sammy, and he actually after he does that, he asks Roger to steal the tape back because he wants to destroy it because he doesn't want Sammy getting out and getting in, doing any more shit. So Roger had one job to do. He does get the tape, and Eddie gets a hold of him. He's like, "Hey man, did you destroy it?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I destroyed it. It's fine." He's like, "Oh, so Roger, you lying bastard." So I love this fucking part, by the way. I just do. Oh, we skipped the did we skip? I'm trying to think. Did we skip the Ozzy Osbourne appearance? Yeah, we did. When Sammy shows up in Eddie's house. Oh man.
So this comes back to one of the reasons I actually do like this story, because I said like I like a story that uses the times they're living in to kind of mold inspiration into the subtext of their story, in which this was, this plays on the fear that a lot of freaking crazy ass parents and PTA teachers and shit like that, people like that didn't like fucking metal and hard rock. Like they thought it was the devil's work, shit like that. So the fact, and Ozzy Osbourne is one of those artists, he's one of those musicians that that parents were speaking up against. The fact that he plays a fucking reverend, he plays a reverend in this. That is one of these people speaking out against hard rock and metal. Dude, that was funny.
It's genius. Brilliant.
It really is. It's funny too, dude.
Yes, I love it. And he's selling it all right. He's selling it okay. As good as Ozzy Osbourne can act.
Yeah, dude, it's totally fine.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Just the idea of some of the dialogue he said, I can't remember word for word, but
oh my god, yeah, he reads off some lyrics and he's like, to me, that's a sexual act.
Dude, it's just so funny. And he's got this really short haircut too, and it's parted. He's got this parted short haircut. It's too funny, dude.
Yeah,
it's too funny.
Well, Sammy fucking kills this guy, I think, man, because he puts his hand on the TV and scrapes his hand across towards Ozzy's face, and Ozzy screams in pain ah! All of a sudden the TV goes to gnat fights. It's crazy. So that's why I do have some questions. Is what exactly is Sammy capable of? Because that's pretty fucking amazing.
Dude, he can literally kill people through a television. Later on, in this scene that we were actually at, he literally pulls that PTA president out of the fucking TV.
Yeah, he does.
She's like this burn up corpse when what the fuck?
She fucking is.
Dude, when he grabs her in her face, it's too funny.
She's like
dude, so this scene with Roger and Sammy Kerr is pretty funny.
It's the best.
It's so good. Take us through it. I love the how the scene ends is kind of hilarious.
Oh, it's so funny. I laughed so hard. This is fucking great. Okay, so Roger is on the phone with Eddie. He lies to Eddie, tells him that he destroyed the tape. Instead, Roger decides to listen to it because he wants to hear the music, because he likes Sammy Kerr a lot. And so he pops the tape in. Of course, Sammy shows up. He just busts out, and Roger's he's scared. So he's acting kind of fanboying a little bit. He's like, oh, I'm a huge fan, blah blah blah. Well, this is when he asks, he tells Roger to play his tape at the dance, basically, because there's a big Halloween dance, and to show him how powerful he is. That PTA lady is on TV. He reaches into the TV and pulls this poor lady out through the TV by her throat. And when she pops out of the TV, she is immediately just a fucking burnt ass carcass. She's dead. She's not even alive when she comes out at all.
She's
immediately
almost
dead. Yeah. And he throws her down and she just kind of poof. She just breaks and turns into dust. So Roger sees that and he's like, I will do whatever you ask me to do because I do not want to go out like that. That does not look fun.
I tell you, and Glenn Morgan, who plays Roger, who again, he would go on to, write fucking Final Destination and all the others that we named off. He's, this was his only ever acting role.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and he's actually really funny.
He's very entertaining in this.
He is. He actually not. I don't want to sell him short. He's very entertaining. He plays the perfect, best friend of the protagonist.
Absolutely.
It's perfect. But yeah, I love at the end of the scene. He he says he agrees to do whatever. He's like, fine, dude. You just pulled that bitch out of the TV. We're cool, bro. 100%. I'll play whatever you want, dude. He starts vacuuming up the fucking PTA president's ashy ass carcass.
It is so funny. Vacuuming it. I laugh so hard because it cuts away to Eddie for a second, and then it cuts back to Roger, and he's vacuuming this lady. Dude, that was so funny. He's
got his Hoover fucking vac out, and he is going to town, dude. It's so funny. Shit like that in this movie that I'm talking about with this little fucking drops of kind of really funny shit.
Dude, I just want to know who thought of that scene, because that is so. It feels like an afterthought. Like they were like, "Oh, that's awesome." And then somebody was just like, "Bro, you know what we should do? We should totally show him vacuuming her up."
We'll cut to this when we cut back to him. The aftermath of what Roger's doing. We'll show him vacuum up the fucking PTA president's body, bro.
How cool! This feels like an afterthought, and I'm so glad they went through with it. If that's true. Oh man, it's so funny.
Trying to vacuum it. It's kind of like it's kind of bulky and kind of chunky.
Yeah,
still
too big. like Roger, you're gonna have to get your hands dirty and pick some of that up, man.
It's so funny, man. I can't. It's
God, it's great. So, okay, so Roger does as he's told. Eddie's not going to the Halloween dance. I think he's grounded, if memory serves me correctly.
He's grounded. I want to say. I think he's on his last night.
Yeah,
I think it's his last night of being grounded. I think she says.
And I think you're right. Yeah, because he's gonna stay home, hand out Halloween candy, and his mom has a date with who I can only say is the coolest fucking guy on the planet. Because when Eddie opens the door, he doesn't even introduce himself. He just says, "Die, commie scum." And he's dressed up like Rambo. And the guy is built like a 90-pound fucking dude. I love it. It's so funny.
Dude, his costume is Rambo, and he's got the physique of Don Knotts, bro. Like, he's like Don Knotts with a fucking mustache. Yeah, it's so good. Pretty funny.
Yeah, he's bald and everything. Like, it's fantastic. And she walks out. Mom walks out. She's like,
he's super skinny too. I know. What a hunk. Dude, he is like. Dude, he is so like he looks like a scrawny hill jack.
He does, but he's funny.
It's funny.
He's
very
cool.
funny. Yeah, I'm here for it. Dude,
she's definitely into his personality, 100%.
Definitely. And this is just another thing in this movie that is just fucking super way cool and funny.
Yep.
This movie is just sprinkled with that stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I'm glad I waited I never saw this just so I could just see it for the first time to do this episode with you. But part of me wishes I would have watched this 20 years ago because I would have liked it. Like 17-year-old Andy, 16-year-old Andy, I would have liked this movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think you would have too, 100%. All right, so
no doubt about it.
So Roger goes to the dance, runs into Leslie. Leslie asks where Eddie is. He's Roger's out of sorts because he knows he has something to do and he doesn't really want to do it, but he's also scared, so he decides to do it. So he goes up to the stereo and he plops in the tape, and of course it unleashes, it gives access for Eddie to show up. Leslie is she actually calls Eddie. And Eddie hears the music playing in the background when she's talking. He's like, "What are you listening to?" And what is that? And he hangs up the phone, gives one trick or treater every bit of candy they owned in the house and the bowl that it was in. Yeah, which I love. I thought that was funny. He like dumps the candy out and then just throws the bowl in her bag.
The bowl to go. Yeah, take it, honey. Yeah,
and he jumps in his car. I think
that trick or treater came to the door earlier, and he said, "Come back tomorrow" or something.
No, he said, "Come back." I think he said something like, "Come back in an hour" or some shit like that.
Or so. Is that
I think he said, "Come back in an hour" because the doorbell ring and the phone ring at the same time. And he's like, fuck. So he opens the door real quick. Or he's like, "Come back in an hour." And he goes to the phone. It was pretty funny. But yeah, he does. He gives her every single bit of candy.
We got to rush to the school now because he's like, "What's that song in the background?" And she's like, "Oh, just some mixtape Roger threw on or some tape Roger threw on."
Yeah, exactly. Because he knows exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah. He's like, "Motherfucker, Roger.
You had one job.
You had one job, bro. You told me you destroyed it. And then you lied to me and played it. And then Sammy Kerr yanked out some PTA president bit out of the TV and vacuumed her fucking poor old ass up."
That's the best. I still love that. That's my favorite sequence of this movie. Little fucking 5-second clip of Roger vacuuming lady.
It's a part of the movie where I laugh the hardest. There's no doubt about it. It's really funny, dude. It's really funny. I'm surprised this movie. I expected this movie to suck. I really.
Oh
did.
yeah. Oh man, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you did.
Well, actually, it's not that I expected it to suck. I just thought it was going to be like, I can't find could you find the budget of this anywhere? It's not even listed.
It's estimated at $3.5 million.
That's amazing.
The box office on this is 6.7, almost 6.8 million.
Wow. Yeah, for whatever reason, I going into this movie, I thought budget was way like I assumed this was probably $1 million budget movie.
Yeah. Well, not far off. Been more. I mean, even in '86, $3.5 million wasn't a lot for a movie. So.
Not a ton, but it's 3.5 times more than I thought it was. I didn't think it would be that high. But I guess it makes sense because Gene. He I don't know what Gene got paid to do this, but it wouldn't. Gene's a man of. Gene ain't doing
known for finding a way to make a buck.
Gene wasn't doing this unless he was getting. I'm not saying he got paid. He didn't get paid $1 million or something, but he got he got paid. He got paid. I have no idea what Gene Simmons' fucking quota was in 1986.
Oh, and it's not like Gene Simmons didn't dabble in movies either, too, because he played a villain in that Tom Selleck sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
he's done a lot of acting. Actually,
Runaway? Are you talking about Runaway?
Yeah, Runaway. Yeah,
with Tom Selleck.
1984. Yeah. I think a young Kirstie Alley's in that too.
Yeah, she is. It's Kirstie Alley and Tom Selleck, and the villain is Gene, right?
Yep,
yeah,
Gene Simmons.
It was like those little. Weren't there like little like bug robots?
Yeah, yeah, these little robotic spider looking things.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, anyway. That's a cool movie.
You know what this movie did remind me of? Or not remind me, just like I guess kind of did remind me. When you think about it, like, dude, I hadn't seen like you said Runaway, right? And like I hadn't seen Runaway since, dude, I was probably 10. I don't know. And I've never seen this. It got me thinking when Gene Simmons first seen in this movie, it's like, my God, he looks so young and different.
Yeah.
Like, dude, and part of it is because I never really saw him young, and I never really saw him like this when he was younger because he was always wearing makeup. He was always
for the most part. Yeah.
He didn't make a lot of appearances, without makeup. A lot. He did some.
Eventually, Kiss did ditch the makeup for a little while.
They did,
but
wasn't it like a couple albums or something?
Just a few albums. Yeah,
right. They did. It didn't go well, did it?
They put out some pretty good stuff. Like "Lick It Up" was a pretty popular single.
I was just gonna say "Lick It Up." I was literally the next words out of my mind. My mouth wasn't "Lick It Up" one of those wasn't "Lick It Up" like probably the biggest hit they had when they got rid of the makeup.
Probably, yeah. I think they.
Lick It Up.
I want to say "Crazy Nights" was a one that they might have did when they didn't have makeup on, also, but I can't remember. Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I don't remember a lot of their music videos. I don't, for whatever reason. But like when I saw him, I was like, damn, I don't remember seeing him without makeup that young a lot. And it's like, God, he looks so different. He looks so young. I mean, I think he looks bad now. It was just kind of cool to see Gene Simmons around this age, however old he is when he shot this. It's just cool to see him like doing dialogue and talking without the makeup in this young, because it's just a reminder of what he actually look like.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a handsome fella.
Yeah, he was a good looking dude. Hey, man, what would we say? More than Wilt Chamberlain?
He pulled more tail than Wilt Chamberlain at a Playboy Mansion party. Yep.
For a reason. Good looking guy.
Yeah.
All right, so Roger kickstarts the concert of the fucking century here. because this is such a fucking radical sequence, man. I love it, dude. I love it
too.
Okay, so he kicks in the music. They have a live band that's going to be playing at this Halloween party, and they're the lamest band ever to band. They won't play one thing. But the guy,
they're no wild.
The guy steps up to the mic and he literally just says, "How's everybody doing?" That's it. That's like no energy. As a front man for a band, I'm going to tell you right now, that is not how you get the crowd into it, sir. Like not even close. But he starts having some sound issues from his amp, man, and he goes and he checks it out, and Sammy decides that this guy isn't the front man for this band. He blows him up. and he just shows up on stage. The fucking guitar that the guy was holding goes flying through the air, and Sammy catches it one-handed and pulls it down and just wow. It was like fucking rad, man. He makes the dopest fucking entrance any front man ever made.
So this is the guitar I was talking about on the cover.
This is the possessed guitar that is apparently the source of all of Sammy's powers.
So is that the movie about the guy where his guitar gets possessed by Satan? Is that the one?
No, Andy, that's not the one. But to be fair, I was actually, while I was completely wrong, I was actually almost right.
You were on to something.
Not only was he doesn't possess the car, he possesses the kid's record player.
Kind of
does. Kind of does.
A little bit. All right, so Sammy puts on literally the concert of the century. He's the greatest frontman ever in the fucking world. He's like in the band apparently knew the song, so they started playing the song with him, and he puts on a fucking hell of a show.
Dude, I love it.
This is a lot of fun, man. He's like all over the stage.
Well,
he
finally gets to play it in high school. He finally got to play it in high school.
Yeah, because they actually were scheduled. They were trying to play this show, but the PTA and everybody, they shut it down. They were like, no, we don't need this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this was what he was supposed to be doing this night anyway.
Yep.
And so he putting on this show. These kids had never seen anything like this in their life, and they're fucking loving it. And then he starts blasting people with electric bolts out of the guitar and killing everybody. It was so fucking cool, man. He shoots that skeleton, and that dude flies back, and all that falls is his fucking costume.
So, is there something? Okay, why does he start? Okay, here's my question. Was he evil after he died, or was he evil before he died? He was evil.
I don't know. I think he was evil before also.
You think so?
Yeah, because there is a sequence that we kind of cut out. Though. Well, no, I think so. I think so.
Maybe I admit, because I've only seen this movie literally twice. Well, but I mean, the first watch was a little. I didn't. Let's just put it this way: the first watch, I watched it, but I was kind of just had it on, and I was watching it. This second watch was I'm fucking glued to the screen. I'm not looking away, and I'm committed to this movie.
Right? Yeah.
So, but like, did I miss it?
Well, I don't think you missed it, but I don't think you interpreted it as how I interpreted it anyway. When when Eddie is laying in bed, he has a vision, and the vision is of Sammy.
I remember this,
and he's sitting in a circle surrounded by candles, and there's two people burning behind him.
Okay, so was
that to me? That to me. Okay. Is the symbolic to how Sammy's lived his lifestyle, and that he probably dabbled in like the occult and things like that.
Satanic
and I think
stuff,
that's why Nuke was trying to kind of sway Eddie away from that lifestyle by telling him, he was like, "Look, man, he got caught up in his own hype, you know, and he brought this on himself." And that's what I think Nuke was kind of trying to warn Eddie. About that and that.
Okay,
so
that makes sense. That makes sense.
There you go.
No, I did catch that part with Nuke, played by the great Gene Simmons. I do remember that, but like now that you bring up that vision that Eddie has, I wasn't sure if that was like something that actually happened in the past with Sammy, or if it was something like. Just Sammy like saying like, I'm coming through. I'm coming into the world.
Yeah.
I'm coming. You know, I didn't know how to interpret it. So I guess that was why I'm asking all this, because he literally starts zapping people with electric forces. With
he starts killing everybody.
Like, I was just like, I guess my question was like, why is this guy so evil? Why is he killing everyone?
He hates the school too. You know what I mean? He keeps telling him, he's just like,
okay.
So he wants to take everybody down, man. He wants to take all these.
Essentially, he's back from the grave to seek revenge.
Yeah.
Essentially,
it's a revenge tale, if you will.
I got it.
Okay, so Eddie does show up in time to he doesn't show up in time for shit because everybody's dying. So everybody starts dipping the fuck out of this fantastic, the next great fucking Woodstock that's going on in the gym. And, they're people are like, oh, there are cops and stuff, and the ambulances are out there and everything. But Eddie gets to the school because he's looking for Leslie and Roger. He finds Roger, tells Roger to try to find the main breaker so they can cut the power to the school. Because Eddie's kind of figured out that if Sammy doesn't have a power source and a signal that he can get through, that he's trapped. And it cuts off the source of his power. He has to go away. So he tells Roger to do that. Roger's he's all feeling bad about himself because he knows he fucked up. He's all he's literally sitting on the fucking steps just with head in his hands. Fucking I'm a loser. He feels stupid. And Eddie goes looking for Leslie. And Leslie's actually changing out of her Halloween costume. And this is where Tim goes full on creeper mode. And he he grabs her clothes and shit. He's not letting her get dressed and stuff. And he starts trying to push himself on her and stuff. So this Tim guy, he's not winning any Person of the Year awards by any means. And he finds Eddie. Eddie actually is trying to help him. He's trying to get him out of there. He's trying to save him. But of course Tim doesn't want to hear it, and Tim gets killed by Sammy in a pretty fucking cool way. Sammy picks his ass up, and then he's holding him by his throat, and he licks his finger, and then puts his finger into a light socket and blows Roger's head up. Man, it's fucking cool. I love it. Oh, that's so fucking awesome. I love this. I fucking love this movie, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
I know you do. This is one of your I mean, I keep saying it, but it's true. This is this is exactly what a cult movie is.
Yeah, 100%.
It's exactly because, when you think about it, there's not is there a lot of hard rock horror movies like this where music is such a focal point? I want to say there was one that came out a couple years, early 80s. What the fuck was it called? It was terrible, though. At least I didn't like it. If someone out there liked it.
I have to look it up because I do know there's some other.
It was something like October. It was something Rocktober or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think so.
Here, I found it. Rocktober Blood came out in 84. It was.
Okay.
It was another horror music mashup. It's 4.8 on IMDb. I found it, but yeah, I like the cult status of this movie. I understand why you and many other big music fans or hard rock metal fans that are also horror fans fucking love this movie.
Oh yeah, this movie was made for me. I'm telling you.
You know what's funny? I was over at my dad's watching football today.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I was like, he's like, "Were you guys recording tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, we're recording." Do you remember the movie? I was like, "We had it. It had it's an older one. It came out in 86. Do you remember the movie Trick or Treat with Gene Simmons?" He goes, "Oh yeah, that rented like crazy." That's what he said.
Oh no shit, that's so funny.
Yeah. He's
that's
like,
so cool.
that thing. He's like, that thing rented like hot. He's like, yeah, we couldn't keep that thing on the shelf. It rented for years, and that just tells you, dude, this movie had a huge cult following.
Yeah,
huge. It was even running like crazy in my little small town in Ohio.
That's awesome. That's fucking awesome. I love hearing that. Hell yeah. All right, so Tim the creeper bastard is dead. Eddie finds Leslie and they get out. They start to make their way to the exit, and Sammy locks the doors and traps them and shit. Kind of trapped in the fucking school. But Roger comes through, and like the fucking hero he is, he finally he comes there and he busts the fucking the main power thing, which they were actually standing right by. And he's like, let me do something right. And he slams the thing in there and he destroys the power. Kind of shocks himself. He doesn't die or anything though. They think he does for a second, but he's fine. So he tries to get Roger some medical assistance, and everybody thinks that Eddie is responsible. A couple people point him out to the cops, and him and Leslie take off running, and they're running from the cops and from Sammy Kerr now. So they're having a great fucking night.
Yeah, they are.
They end up kind of making their way, kind of trying to feel like if I should speed this ending up a little bit. Because
I did notice, I will say this final act, it kind of, I don't want to say it drags in the middle, but it goes on a lot longer than I envisioned.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
when they're at the school and then they leave the school, I thought when they left the school, like it was going to go right into the ending, pretty close. We still had like another 20, 25
yeah,
minutes. It's weird, right? The pacing
I agree.
in the final act's a little hokey, a little.
It's a little off a little bit. I think they.
Yeah, I'm nitpicking, but
it's a good nitpick though, because well, of course, you know how we obviously you are, and all you listeners, you know how we do our show. When we get to these kind of sequences, because like we just felt like we were almost in the final act already. And when you do that, they just had this super high intense fucking section, and then they dial it down a little bit to get to the actual final confrontation.
Yeah,
and it's a little awkward a little bit because they're running right now, but it doesn't feel like they're in a rush.
No, and here's you just nailed it. You're not in a rush when we already know, even if you haven't seen this movie, you know what the outcome's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we just get to it?
Yeah, exactly.
We're there. Let's get to it. And they don't get right
they don't.
to it. Again, it's a nitpick on a fucking cult fucking horror musical film, hard rock film from 1986. But yeah, the pacing in this final act is kind of fucked up.
It's a little bad. Because he destroyed the tape. He found the tape and he destroyed it. But so he actually kind of thinks it should be over, but he remembers that Nuke is going to play the album at midnight. So they realize they have to get to the radio station. When they get to the radio station, shit has already gone on. Sammy's already there, because they're too late. Like he tries to call the radio station. It's literally 11:59 when he's calling the radio station. But Nuke had it set up to auto play, so it's automatically playing because Nuke's not even there. And so he pre-recorded the whole show, and it's just set up to automatically play. So it starts playing. Sammy gets out. They do get to the radio station. There's a couple of sequences here, like Sammy blows a fucking cop clean out of his shoes. That was kind of funny. And then he steals Eddie's mom's car and drives it in reverse for several blocks. But they do make it to the radio station, and Eddie comes up with a plan to lure Sammy out. So he grabs a little personal radio, chucks it in a cop car that they have, and he tells her to count to 100 and then go in there and destroy the tape, destroy the recording, destroy everything. So he takes off in the cop car, and she starts counting. And he's talking mad shit to the radio, trying to get Sammy to come attack him. And eventually, it finally works. He finally gets Sammy out, and when Sammy pops out of the radio, he's stuck in the backseat of the cop car, and he's trying to get through and get to Eddie. Eddie drives. This is gangster, dude. Eddie's got balls that
big
clank.
Time.
He drives the car off of a bridge into a river. And he's still in the car. He's buckled in. He just fucking he yeets himself off into a river. And at the same time, old girl has destroyed the tape. So he can't get back out. So that's how they do away with Sammy. And then a little bit later, Eddie pops up because apparently he needs to try out for the fucking swim team. So he pops up out of the river, and then he makes his way back to the radio station, and all's well that ends well. And there you guys have 1986's classic Trick or Treat. I fucking love this movie. I know it's not good cinema, but it's not bad cinema.
No, see, then that's a good way to put it. I mean, this isn't, I mean, you're not showing up to watch fucking Shawshank Redemption. You're not at all. This is what it is. It's a cheesy, somewhat. There's some tongue in cheek in here. There's a lot.
Yeah,
there's a good amount.
Really
it's sprinkled. It's sprinkled. I mean, you look at IMDb right now. They'll list the category, like the genre categories. It's listed as a comedy, horror, music. Those are the 3 categories. So there is some humor in this, and it's good cheesy humor. No, dude, thanks for picking this movie, dude.
You're very welcome, sir.
This movie is, I think, the best way to describe it. Oh, here's the thing. If you were born like Bryan and I, like either in the late 70s, early 80s, like Bryan and I was born in 81. Bryan, you were born in 77, right?
Yep.
And we grew up through the 80s as kids and just that era. And not to mention, we both like this type of music. Mm-hmm. If you like this type of music. So it's cool to see a movie from this era that I've never seen, that captures the era that I remember a lot as a kid, captures that music that I liked a lot as a kid, and it's a horror movie to boot. Like, what the fuck? Do you know they wanted to make a franchise out of this? That was So that was the original plan. Like that, they were hoping that this. I'm telling you and it's the 2 guys that also that were involved in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, that were co-writers and co-producers on this. That was what they were banking on. I did read that they were hoping that they could franchise Sammy Kerr into like another Freddy Krueger. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they could have, man, because I would have been there for it, bro. Dude, I love this movie so much.
I feel like wouldn't this be cool as like a live action play?
Fuck yeah.
Wouldn't it?
Fuck yeah. I'm gonna finance it. I'm gonna get Adam Lambert to play Sammy Kerr.
I'm telling you, because the music in this is good, dude.
It is.
I mean, I think your opinion is more advanced than mine. How do you rate the music in this
it's awesome, dude. It's totally awesome, man. I love it. Yeah, Fastway was good. Fastway's a good band. 100%. Yeah, I like it. And in fact, I have this on Blu-ray. This is we've talked about this a little bit. Like it's interesting to get a Blu-ray copy of this because I think the distribution, U.S. distribution, is just owned by some dude. Because like you can read like this was released. It was released on DVD in the U.S. by Platinum Disc in 2002, and in 2014 there was like a 3-disc collector's edition containing an all-region Blu-ray and a Region 2 DVD and the soundtrack CD and a booklet, and it was released in Germany only, and it was only limited to 1,500 copies. Only 1,000 copies with cover art A and 500 with B. So that sucks that we didn't get that, man. Look over here in a minute. Now, hey,
I could see this being popular in Germany
that bought
too.
This. Oh yeah, this is definitely 100%.
Yeah, dude, this is right up that.
Congratulations to Germany for scoring that, and I'm fucking jealous. I would love to have that.
Yeah, guys, like, we're not even. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the Blu-ray. Jesus Christ, we suck. Go
ahead. God damn it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say. Go ahead.
I will go, sir. The Blu-ray that I have, it isn't shit by any means. Like it's pretty awesome. The copy's really good. And it has some bonus stuff on it. It's got like a little making of documentary and shit. And it has the entire soundtrack too. So that's fucking awesome. You can click that bad boy on, let the whole fucking Fastway soundtrack. And that's cool. It's rad. I love it. Oh, man, I love this fucking movie, dude.
I do. Fun. It's definitely, if you've never seen this movie, now is a good time of year. Here's the thing. If you've never seen this movie and you like rock music, you like metal music, you like the 80s, and you like horror like us, obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably love horror. You got to see this movie. Like, I'm serious. Like, this is a must watch for rock 80s horror fans. I mean, like, seriously, like those three, if you love the 80s and you love hard rock and metal and and you love horror, like, dude, this is a must watch. Like, this movie is a must watch. It really is. This movie's just a lot of fun, dude. It's a lot of, dude, this movie's cool. It's fun. It's entertaining.
Hell yeah.
It's cheesy. And it's honestly, like I said, I'll say this again. It's competently made and technically a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I'm
glad you.
I expected a shit ton of really bad acting. There's really not.
There's really not. Yeah,
there's not.
Honestly,
really
you could argue that the worst actor in the whole thing is Tony Fields, but even he's fine. He's good. Like,
he's totally fine.
Yeah, I think that,
he has limited dialogue as it is,
yeah.
and plus his wardrobe and costume kind of give the essence of the character anyway.
Right, exactly.
His presence on screen visually is more impactful than any lines that he reads in the movie.
He looks fucking good. He looks fucking
exactly.
Good.
Exactly.
Yeah, fucking Tony Fields was a fucking good looking dude, man. And he was. He had that dope ass fucking dancer body, you know what I mean? He was all cut and in really good shape. Yep. Looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I got to know your score, and you need to go first because you never seen it before. What's your score?
Okay. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm gonna give this movie 3 out of 4 stakes to the heart.
Yes, I love it. That's so awesome.
Listen, is this the best movie you could watch during spooky season, horror season? No. Is it one of the best horror movies you've probably ever seen? No. But it is spooky season. And if you've never seen this and you like hard rock and you like the 80s, like we just said and we just talked about, if you like all that, not to mention this movie takes place on Halloween. This is the perfect time to watch it. And guys, I hate saying this, but it's for free on YouTube. Don't tell anyone. But go. I had no choice. I had because you can't get it anywhere. You cannot, guys. You can't rent this anywhere.
You can buy it on eBay.
That's it.
You can buy it on
That's
eBay.
It.
That's how
US
I got
distribution,
mine.
At least currently, I don't know. I'm sure that'll change at some point in the years to come. I would hope, but literally the U.S. distribution on this is so fucking whacked. Like, you can't even go on your Amazon to rent it for $4. You can't go on to Apple and rent it for $4. Can't go on to Vudu and rent it for $4. You can't rent it. The distribution in the U.S., you can't rent it anywhere. You can't buy it anywhere. But like I said, like Bryan said, from eBay, who we think is the actual dude, owns the U.S. distribution rights.
I'm telling you, I think that's what it is. He even explains it. He's like, you know what? I'm going to fucking pull it up. Because it's so interesting. I've got to read this to you guys. It's so strange because I've never in my life seen anything quite like this. This guy has a shop on YouTube. And he sells his Blu-ray copies. Okay, so here we go. Trick or Treat. New listing, $30, 1986. And this, I believe this is it. And if I can scroll up. Yep, it is. It's a Team Blue release. It's 1986. High definition Blu-ray. It's got the behind the scenes. It's got the Trick or Treat album, the trailer. It's an out of print, previously unavailable Blu-ray title. It's manufactured on demand by our group that has the rights from the studio to release our custom set using recordable, not pressed media. This does not make it a bootleg. All of our releases are licensed as on-demand titles. So how bizarre is that?
That is bizarre.
I've never seen this for any other movie, Andy. I've never seen this for any other movie.
At least I'm sure I know there's others.
Probably.
I know I just can't think off the top of my head. I know I've crossed other movies that had this kind of like US distribution issue. And it's usually these fucking cult movies like this. It's always these cult movies. So yeah, it's fucking bizarre, guys. When Bryan told me you picked this, I'm like, cool, dude. I've never seen this. Well, I went to go see where I could rent it. I'm like, Bryan, I can't buy this or fucking rent this anywhere.
He's like, I don't think we can do this movie, dude.
I don't think we can do it. He's like, oh, YouTube. I'm like, okay. And I feel bad doing that. Like, I don't even like telling you guys you can go watch it for free on YouTube. But a part of me doesn't feel bad because the distribution rights are so fucked up on this that like you can't even just rent it anywhere. Like guys, I will rent a movie every time. I'm one of those people. I like to pay for my movies because one, it goes to at the end of the day, it goes back to the creators of the great movie that we're watching or whatever movie you're watching. So like I always support film in that way, and you really should do that, guys. But in this case, you really can't. I mean, you can go to eBay, but I'm not going to tell you to go pay $30 for a Blu-ray from some dude that you've never seen the movie before. So yeah, watch it on YouTube if you haven't, guys. Definitely. Brian, what's your score?
Oh, the 3.5.
Love it.
I love this movie. I love this movie. I really do. It's definitely a 3.5 for me, buddy. I got nothing but love for this movie. It's probably higher than what it should be. I'm gonna admit it,
fine.
But
man.
God, I really love it. Basically, 3.5 stakes through Sammy Kerr's gorgeous hair, fucking hot lick, fucking playing, lightning blasting, fucking heart, and and you nailed it. It's like when you think of a movie like this that is super fucking obscure, you're gonna assume that you're gonna get like a lot of incompetence, bad shots, bad acting, bad special effects. You really get none of that. I think everything in this movie, for the most part, is really competent, with the exception of the final act kind of bogging down a little bit. That's it,
a little bit.
That's fucking it.
Yeah. They just needed to cut like 5 minutes of that final act, dude, and it would have been fine. Yeah. It would have been a lot better.
Is the story ridiculous? Fuck yes.
Oh, absolutely.
This is ridiculous.
It's a fantasy. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, this is a fantasy horror / kind of like a little bit of humor in it, and like I said, obviously music is really the focal point of this, is the driving passion of this plot.
Yeah. Ah, man, I kind of dig shit out of this movie.
You don't kind of dig this shit out of this movie. You really dig the shit out of this movie.
I know
I dig it too, man.
I know it's not fucking amazing, but I know it. But God, I love it.
It's a lot of fun. Nah, dude, when I tweeted out on the Dead and SC podcast on Twitter, I mean, we had a few people respond, "Oh, I fucking love that movie," and they were all
it was
just
nice
like,
to see. It really was.
It's all dudes around our age.
Yeah, like 100%. Honestly, it really is. Like, I really think that, if any of you are younger listeners, like you guys, if any of you guys watch this movie, first of all, go in there knowing that this is just a fun, fucking ridiculous ride.
Yes.
You know, it really
don't
is.
expect a lot. Don't expect a lot.
It's a super bizarre story.
It is,
but it's just so fun, and for me, and and we said it earlier, because it really captured that mid '80s feel, and because I remember being like 9-10 years old, and rock and metal was just getting shit on by the government, dude. Like, I mean,
I know
the government tried to ban heavy metal.
Dude, Ronald. It was Reagan too.
Yeah, Reagan. It was Reagan.
Ronald Reagan wanted.
I think it was his wife. I think it was Nancy. I think it was his wife. That was
I think it was Nancy. She wasn't a fan.
No, she was not. She did not feel the rock and roll at all, man. But what she needed, she just needed a little fucking Sammy Kerr, man. I'm telling you, I love that clip.
Yeah.
Like when they were watching that clip, he's like literally ripping a snake apart and straining the blood all over him and shit.
So good.
And I was like,
dude.
oh my god, like this guy was a crazy fucking wild frontman. Of course, back then, remember Ozzy Osbourne bit the head off a live bat and shit.
Dude, what Sammy Kerr does in this movie. What Sammy Kerr does in this movie makes Ozzy Osbourne look like fucking Brian Gumble, bro. So I won't fucking hear it. Dude, God. Sammy Kerr is a fucking gangsta. I love it. Good movie, dude. Thanks a lot. Appreciate
man,
it,
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really am. I kind of knew you. So, what do you guys think of Trick or Treat from 1986? If you guys have seen it, please definitely let us know on Twitter. You can find us at Dead and SC Podcast. You can hit us up if you want to email us at deadandsc@gmail.com. You can hit us find us on Facebook, Dead in Santa Carla. Man, let us know. Let us know what you think of Trick or Treat from 1986.
Check out the new website too.
Check out the website. Yeah,
slashingcast.net.
Absolutely.
Podcast Network. Check us out, boys and girls.
Yep. There you go.
Let us know. Sorry,
we also got to give you
like
guys a little bit of. That's all good. I've just learned to keep talking. We got a really fun episode next week too, guys. What do you think of next week's episode? I know you're excited,
dude.
I know you're really excited, man.
No, I'm really excited because I get to revisit the greatest body wiggle in the history of cinema, and that is Leatherface's body wiggle in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Starring the dude. How is Dennis Hopper in this movie? It's amazing. I don't care. I don't know how they got him in, but I'm here for it. But we're gonna be for our second episode of Spooky Season. We're gonna be talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and we're gonna be joined by a special guest who has actually been on the show before with us, RJ, the movie critic. I know RJ from my Cleveland roots. He has a segment every Thursday on the really big show on ESPN Cleveland. 850 WKNR every Thursday. Been listening to RJ for years. He's going to join us. He really, dude, he is so excited to come on and talk. Like,
I love it.
What it is, he just really, and I can't wait to find out why, but we're going to find out why. He just really, really wanted to talk about this movie in particular, being Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. So that is the homework. You can find Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 streaming on Amazon Prime. If you don't have Prime, you can rent in other places. It's available to rent other places, but it is available on Prime if you have Prime.
That's right. Yeah, I think I'm probably watching it right now after we end this episode.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the amazing support. Thank you guys so much for the plays. You guys have been absolutely killing it. And I know we say it every episode, but we genuinely mean it. It's really appreciated, man. When we put
big time, guys,
we put a lot of work into this. It takes up a lot of our time, and it just really makes it all worth it when you guys come through like you have. So, gosh, we absolutely love you, and we're gonna keep pumping it out as long as you guys keep enjoying it. Do you got anything that you want to add before we dip out of here, Andy?
No, just any new listeners out there. I know we've. I think a few people in the last few days, a handful of people have discovered us from our Twitter. Mm-hmm. So if you're new to the podcast, you're listening to this, welcome in, man. We appreciate you guys listening to us, and all the nice comments on the Twitter means a lot, man. It's appreciative. The feedback we get, the feedback we've been getting has been really good. And honestly, even bad feedback's good feedback.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Definitely hit us up on the Twitter. Let us know of any movies in the future that you would like us to cover. Let us know, man. And that's it, man. Thank you guys. And everyone have a safe and awesome spooky season. On to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I cannot fucking wait.
Hell yeah, me neither, buddy. All right, guys. With all of that being said, we will catch you on the next episode.